Hello, I'm Rebecca and Intuitive, and this is Masterful Chats. Masterful Chats are short, clear, concise, clarifying conversations designed to uplift, empower, inspire, and support you as you move forward along your spiritual path and in your life's journey. And today's chat is about healing physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual wounds. The only way out is through. But first, for those of you who are seeing me for the very first time, I would like to say welcome. And to all of my wonderful subscribers, I'd like to say thank you and welcome back. And from my near-death experience, I would like each one of you watching this video to know that our Creator loves each one of us individually, completely, totally, and beyond measure. Please like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell. It would really help the channel, and I would truly appreciate it. So now, let's chat about the only way out is through. Very few of us grow up in what I would call normal, although there is no quote-unquote normal family. We are raised in different environments by people who may have healed their own trauma or not. We may have grown up in very dysfunctional families. We may have had things happen to us in our formative years and throughout our school years that impacted us greatly. I think it is really the rare person that grows up that does not have some inner work to reintegrate, to heal, to make them whole. The Western culture for the last 60 plus years has been fueled by consumerism. Buy, 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 buy. If you purchase this, oh, you'll feel so much better. And in fact, many economies, they are based on those consumer dollars. And we're always told that the quick fix is going to make us feel so much better. I once had a person tell me, which I thought was very appropriate, growing up in America, we had the 30-minute sitcom where everything was solved in a half an hour. And life just isn't like that, is it? But much of the culture in the world today is driven by consumerism and the quick fix. And many of us have been raised to believe that outer success in the material world will create inner satisfaction. I do think that we need to have the resources to feed ourselves, clothe ourselves, shelter, food. And those of us in the world that do have homes and services and leisure time are very, very fortunate. Studies are showing, though, today just how isolated and how alone people are feeling. I do think that the isolation that occurred during COVID has exacerbated some issues, or they were put in situations in families or in relationships where they really couldn't get away from each other, and certain behaviors and actions and attitudes could not be escaped. And so in terms of personal relationships and ourselves individually, we in large part, on a collective level, on a familial level, and on an individual level, are still dealing with that fallout and the changes that began during COVID. And that change is going to continue. For many in our culture, there is not really an understanding when I talk about the present moment. The present moment means the present moment. The present moment means that the mind is not racing about what's going to be coming down the pike in the next 2 hours or tonight or next week or next month, or thinking about the past. The present moment is strictly the present moment. And if you're in the present moment, the egoic mind is not engaged. And by the ego mind, what I'm speaking of is what I call the monkey mind. All the incessant chatter, all the things to be afraid of, all the things you need to do. It's endless, and it's constant, and it's exhausting. In many cultures of the world, people have been taught that the mind is of a higher order than the feelings of the heart. Many people today are feeling those feelings for the first time, with all the changes that have been happening on the planet, with all of the chaos and all of the disruption, with systems and relationships dissolving. So when I say that each one of us comes from families where there has been dysfunction, or that clear boundaries were not established, or we did not get our needs met physically, mentally, emotionally, or spiritually, where there has been some wounding or a deep, deep wound. The key to healing, the key to being whole, is to go to that wound, is to feel what we need to feel, and to move through the process to come out on the other side. The ego will say to you, if you're on this journey, oh, well, that's fine, but I don't want to hurt too much. Oh, that's fine, but I don't want to experience any pain. Well, that is entirely possible with some things, but it's not very probable. I started out in my teen years going to different Al-Anon meetings. I was in therapy off and on throughout my adult life. And then I found energetic healing. And then I found spiritual teachers. So this has really been a lifelong process for me. And I used to think that I had to get down and get in the dirt and get every dirt around me and know every little bit about it to heal it. Now I've come to the place where I don't necessarily have to know everything about it. I can just let it go. And that is what is remarkable about these new energies coming in today versus even 20 or 30 years ago. There is a tremendous amount of grace to be had by our Creator and by the universe. And if we're ready to let something go, we can integrate within ourselves that wounded part of us and love it and accept it and honor it for how it got us to this point on our journey, then we may not need to know everything about it. We may not need to process everything through our bodies. When I say the only way out is through, I really mean the only way out is through. The egoic mind will keep you occupied with distractions. It will keep you mirrored in addictions. It will keep you compulsive. And it will keep you looking externally. Stand back and observe the culture today. There are many individuals who are medicating themselves with either alcohol or marijuana or other substances. There are individuals who, rather than going out forming relationships in their teens, 20s, 30s are gaming most of the time. Look at the proliferation of sport betting. We have a model for a very addictive culture. It can also be overspending. It can be compulsive spending. We have so much stimulus in the industrialized world today that it can be very challenging to keep your balance, much less heal yourself. And for the most part, there aren't any quick fixes. It's like building a brick house. It's one brick at a time. It's one portion at a time. It takes time. And we are all works in progress. And I've spoken with several people that are being challenged today. They feel lonely. They may have some patterns in their lives that they may or may not want to change. And they say to me, well, I'm very intelligent and I work hard. And they are, and they do. But this has nothing to do with a work ethic or whether or not a person is intelligent. One, myself included, at a much younger age, I worked hard, I was very intelligent, and yet I was making very poor decisions for myself. Because it wasn't the intelligence that was driving my decisions regarding my behaviors. It was the wounding that was driving me. It was the behavioral patterns that was driving me. And until we heal that wound, until we integrate that wound, quite often we continue to make decisions that are not in our highest and greatest good. Whether it be what we ingest in our bodies, whether it be the relationships that we have in our lives, whether it be how we choose to structure our life and what we choose to do with our time. One of the things that has always carried me through was a trust that somehow I would get to the other side. Even in my darkest hours, I somehow knew that I would get to the other side. I'm not a particularly religious person. I'm a very spiritual person. And from my knowledge with God and my near-death experience, and I call it the Creator God, all that is, Spirit. You can call him the Big Kahuna or her the Big Kahuna. God as an omnipotent force, really, it doesn't matter what you call the Spirit that created all of us and all of creation. So pick whatever makes you happy. Because if you're happy, your Creator's happy for you. But the one thing is the trust. And some individuals, because of how they were raised within strict religious structures, the word God can be very triggering. So use another, use spirit, use creation, whatever makes you comfortable. Whether it's a belief in nature and the cycles of the earth. Whatever can give you faith and some trust to move forward in the process, utilize it. And ask for help. Because you are a Christed being of light in physical form. And because you have that part of the Creator inside of you, the Creator is with you always. And whether you see that in your grandchildren or your beloved pets or the garden you tend, it's all part of our Creator's world. Everything is within us, and we are part of everything. So know that if you are wanting to make some changes, if you do recognize that there are some internal parts of you that need to be healed, that need to be made whole, know that you are never alone. Ask for help. Start small, start simple. Just take one step to begin your healing journey. And don't be surprised if the ego, wanting to stay in command and control, throws up roadblocks for you. But recognize that that is strictly the ego. And trust that you will get to the other side. And know that you are worth every step that you take on this journey for healing and wholeness. And remember, follow the joy, follow the love, follow the laughter in your life. Be kind to yourself and be kind to others. Because this world will be changed by kindness and love. Thank you for being with me today for this Masterful Chat. Please like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell. And until we chat again, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're at in the world. Blessings.